Hey, welcome to Shift. I'm Elliot, and this is where we hit life's shortcut keys together. You know how on your computer you've got these little keyboard commands like Ctrl S to save your work or Ctrl C and Ctrl V to copy and paste? They're these little secret commands that make everything a bit easier. Well, here on Shift, we're doing the same thing, but for life. Each shortcut is a little reminder, a quick mental hack, a kind of reset button for how we think, feel, and live. Today's shortcut is one of my all-time favorites, maybe the most powerful one there is, Ctrl Z. And we're using it to talk about a topic that I think we all need a little help with, learning to forgive yourself. Let me start with a quick story, because I think it's a feeling we all know. The other night, I was putting my daughter to bed. It was late, I was exhausted, and she was in a full-on defiant, I don't want to go to sleep mood. She was pushing every single button I have, and I snapped. I raised my voice louder than I meant to. She immediately burst into tears, and I felt it in my gut, that immediate sinking feeling of regret. You know the one. That moment where you'd give anything to just rewind time and take it back, to just hit Ctrl Z on the last 30 seconds of your life and do it over. We've all been there, right? That cringy memory of something you said in a meeting, that email you sent in a moment of frustration, or that promise you broke to a friend. We wish we had a real-life undo button. And while we can't rewind time, the principle behind Ctrl Z is exactly what we need to apply to ourselves. On your computer, hitting Ctrl Z does one simple thing. It undoes the last action. It's a lifesaver. You delete a paragraph by mistake, Ctrl Z. You mess up the formatting, Ctrl Z. It doesn't erase everything you've done before. It just rolls back that little mistake so you can try again. Pretty simple, right? It's not a punishment. It's a second chance. And in life, Ctrl Z is a reminder of something bigger, the power of self-forgiveness. Just like the shortcut, it helps us acknowledge a mistake, roll it back in our minds, and then move forward without carrying the weight of it. It's the mental equivalent of giving yourself a do-over. It's not about pretending the mistake didn't happen. It's about acknowledging it and choosing not to let it define you or paralyze you. It's the difference between beating yourself up and simply saying, okay, that was a mistake. I'm going to choose a different path now. So why is this so hard? Why do we get stuck in a loop of self-blame? I think a lot of it comes down to a fundamental misunderstanding of what a mistake is. We confuse the action with our entire identity. Forgiving yourself isn't about condoning bad behavior. It's about separating who you are from what you did. Think about it this way. When I yelled at my daughter, the mistake wasn't that I'm a bad dad. That's a heavy, crushing label. The mistake was that in a moment of exhaustion, I made a bad choice about how to communicate. The action was flawed, not my entire being. This is a key distinction, and it's something psychologists talk about a lot. The difference between guilt and shame. Guilt is a feeling of remorse for an action you took. It says, I did something bad. Guilt is a useful emotion. It helps us learn and correct our behavior. Shame, on the other hand, is a feeling of remorse about who you are as a person. It says, I am a bad person. Shame is a toxic, paralyzing emotion. It keeps us stuck because if we believe we are a mistake, what's the point of trying to change? So our first step to hitting that Ctrl Z button is to shift from shame to guilt. To stop saying, I'm a failure, and start saying, that action was a failure, and I can do better next time. This is how we begin to heal and grow. This brings me to a story I read about a study on regret. It was fascinating. Researchers found that people who spend a lot of time ruminating on past mistakes, what they call counterfactual thinking, tend to have higher levels of anxiety and depression. We get stuck in this loop. If only I had said this, if only I had done that. It's a mental replay that never changes the outcome, but it drains our energy and steals our peace. So, how do we break the loop? It's not by denying what happened. It's I consciously choosing to acknowledge the mistake, learn the lesson, and then close the file. It's like a computer program. Once you hit Ctrl Z, you don't keep staring at the old version. You start typing the new correct version. You move on. One way to do this is a simple practice I've started, especially with my daughter. When I mess up, I don't just say, "I'm sorry." I say, "I'm sorry I yelled. It was wrong. I was tired, but that's not an excuse. Next time, I'm going to take a deep breath instead of raising my voice." I am modeling for her what it looks like to own a mistake and then move on. It's a simple script, but it's a powerful one. It's my verbal Ctrl Z. All right, so how do we actually apply this in our own lives? How do we press the Ctrl Z button on our own self-criticism? Here are a few quick steps you can try. First, name the mistake, not the person. When you feel that wave of regret, instead of saying, "I'm so irresponsible," try to be specific. I messed up by not paying that bill on time. The second one is a problem with the solution. The first one is a judgment with no path forward. The second is journal or talk it out. Sometimes the mental loop is just a broken record. Take a few minutes to write down the situation. What happened? What could you have done differently? Then write a sentence of forgiveness. Something simple, like, "I forgive myself for this mistake. I am choosing to learn from it and move forward." Just getting it out of your head and onto paper can be incredibly freeing. Finally, do a micro-amends. It's not always possible to fix a past mistake, but you can do something small to make a different choice now. If you regret not being there for a friend, send them a text right now saying, "Thinking of you, hope you're having a good week." It's a small action that moves your energy from regret about the past to positive action in the present. Here's your challenge for the week if you're up for it. Think of it like pressing Ctrl Z in real life. Your challenge is this: write yourself a simple letter of forgiveness. It doesn't have to be a masterpiece, just a few lines. Acknowledge a mistake you've been holding on to. Write down the lesson you learned from it. And then write the words, "I forgive myself. I am a work in progress, not a finished product." Then tear it up or delete it. The act of writing it is for you and no one else. Thanks for hanging out with me today on Shift. I hope this episode gives you a little permission to go a little easier on yourself. We're all going to mess up. We're all going to have those moments where we wish for a do-over. But the real power isn't in rewinding time. It's in choosing to move forward with a little more grace and self-compassion. If this episode clicked for you, make sure to subscribe and share it with a friend who might need to hear it. Next time, we'll be exploring another simple but powerful shortcut, Ctrl A, all about accepting your full self. Until then, keep it light, keep it real, and remember, sometimes all you need is a little shift.